When an animal goes extinct, their last photos instantly turn into haunting memories of the inevitable doom that awaited them. However, it's sometimes forgotten that the last photo of an animal doesn't mean it went extinct just then. Many sightings of doomed animals occurred after the last known photos. These sightings are perhaps even more somber than photos, as they represent the last time a human has ever laid eyes on a particular creature. Here are 6 famous extinct animals and their last recorded sightings. The first animal on the list is one that has gained much popularity in recent times, and for good reason, as it was a magnificent creature. This is the Barbary Lion. Also known as the North African lion or the Egyptian lion, it inhabited the mountains and deserts of the Maghreb from Egypt to Morocco. Hunters claimed that they were the largest of all lions and possessed long manes with unique colors not seen in other lions. It is believed that they first emerged roughly 100,000 years ago and were extremely successful until firearms and bounties spread in their regions. Very quickly, hunting began to take a toll. By the 1890s, only 26 years after it was officially recorded, its population had been decimated and sightings became very scarce. When sightings were made, it was usually of a lone individual, a grim sign as almost all previous sightings involved groups. In 1925, the last recorded photo of a wild Barbary lion was taken. Sadly, hunting continued, and in 1942, the last known Moroccan Barbary lion was killed by a French colonial hunter in Morocco's high Atlas Mountains. For many, this marked the official last sighting of the lion. However, the last time a human laid eyes on this giant feline was over 10 years later, in 1956, when several people on a bus saw a great lion just north of town of Sétif in Algeria. The lion watched the humans for a while before disappearing into a forested area that was later destroyed during the French-Algerian War, likely killing the lion. Fortunately, some 80 to 100 Barbary lions still live in captivity around the world, though it's uncertain if they are true Barbary lions, as no wild one can be tested for comparison. While debate on the Barbary lion's existence continues, there is no debate that this next animal, the dodo, is gone for good. The dodo has become an icon of extinction and has made various appearances in pop culture. It was a flightless bird endemic to the island of Mauritius and belonged to the Columbidae family, which includes doves and pigeons. Very little is known about its behavior, but from remaining reports, scientists deduce that it preferred woodland areas and feasted on fallen fruits, nuts, seeds, bulbs, roots, and possibly shellfish. The earliest known accounts of the dodo were given by the Dutch in 1598 and were quite mundane, as those who made them were starved sailors, only interested in the plumpness of the dodo, not the fact that it had never been seen before. They remarked that the dodo was fearless of humans and easy to catch, yet sported a beak which could administer fierce bites. It soon became a staple for sailors and introduced invasive animals including dogs, pigs, cats, rats, and macaws. These animals were even more detrimental to the dodo population than human hunting, and its population began to rapidly decline. Flash floods and habitat destruction further added to its losses. Live specimens were also exported abroad as the dodo's numbers declined. No one really took notice, and they eventually disappeared. As far as scientists know, the last time anyone for sure saw a dodo was in 1662, less than 100 years after Europeans reached the island. Stranded sailors remarked about strange flightless birds that did not fear them and followed them around. The sailors noticed that these birds could not fly but were difficult to catch due to their surprising speed. They eventually caught one, providing more than enough food. To their surprise, the dodo made a great noise upon capture, after which other dodos came forth to help, but were then made prisoners themselves and subsequently killed. The last sighted dodos were killed so nonchalantly, and this somber tone towards the dodo continued even after its official extinction date. The only reliable yet unconfirmed sighting that followed came from the governor of the island, who maintained that he continued hunting dodos for several years until 1688, after which he never encountered them again. The Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine, was a carnivorous marsupial native to Tasmania, mainland Australia, and New Guinea. Resembling a large dog with some unique features like its stiff tail and abdominal pouch, it was hunted to extinction due to competition with humans and their livestock. The last known thylacine in the wild was captured in 1930, and the last one in captivity died in 1936 at the Hobart Zoo. However, there were unconfirmed sightings for decades after, with the most credible one being in 1982 when a park ranger reported seeing a thylacine in Tasmania's wilderness. Yet, none of these sightings have been conclusively verified. Steller's sea cow, an extinction sirenian described by George Steller in 1741, shares a similarly sad story as our other featured creatures. At the time, its range was limited around the Commander Islands of the Bering Sea, between Alaska and Russia, but during the Pleistocene, its habitat was much more widespread, extending to the North Pacific. It was a giant animal, the largest sirenian ever, but also truly a gentle giant. Steller noted it as a docile social creature that fed on kelp, lived in small families, and communicated by using sighs and snorting sounds. Unfortunately, this gentleness was taken for granted by Steller and his crew. The sea cow was extremely slow and could not fully submerge due to its buoyancy, making it an easy target. Steller and his crew successfully hunted one just a day after discovering it. After the area became more traveled by sailors, it became common for fur traders and seal hunters to butcher the animals in masses. The sea cow's population was already abysmal at the time of its finding, with only about 2,000 individuals. Hunting quickly destroyed the remaining population, and 27 years after its discovery, it went extinct. The last official recorded sighting was in 1768, when hunters spotted a lone individual in deep water. They saw it swimming the opposite direction of their boat, but when they turned around, it had vanished. Nearly 200 years later, in 1963, the official journal of the USSR announced an unconfirmed yet highly likely sighting. A whaling ship reported a group of large marine mammals grazing on seaweed in shallow water off Kamchatka. The crew saw 6 animals, ranging from 6 to 8 meters, 20 to 26 feet, with trunks and split lips that swam slowly. They claimed to have seen them from 100 meters, 300 feet away, and the next day they saw them again, closer and grazing on kelp. This sighting was compelling, though the animals reportedly submerged regularly, contradicting the traditional belief that the sea cow could not go fully underwater. Since then, no major sightings have been made. The great auk, our second species of flightless bird, also faced a tragic end. This bird mated on rocky, remote islands with easy access to water and plentiful food. When not breeding, the great auk foraged the waters of the North Atlantic, ranging from northern Spain to the coastlines of Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Ireland, Great Britain, France, and the Iberian Peninsula, and the Faroe Islands. Despite its similarity in appearance to penguins, the great auk belonged to the Alcid family. This bird had a long-established relationship with Europe and coexisted peacefully, only being occasionally killed by hunters. It wasn't until the 18th century that the slaughter of the great auk picked up steam, when pillow industries realized that their downed feathers made good stuffing. This exponentially increased the amount of auks hunted, which at the time numbered in the low millions. As demand for their feathers increased, so did demand for their meat, oil, and eggs. Sailors used breeding grounds as makeshift landmarks for navigation, increasing interactions with the bird. By the early 1800s, people began noticing the increasing rarity of this bird. Its newfound rareness proved more harmful as museums started funding people to capture and kill auks for preservation and study. By 1830, only one place in the world was known to harbor them, the Great Auk Rock of Iceland. Yet, even here was not safe. A volcanic eruption submerged the island, forcing survivors to flee to a smaller rock, Eldey. In 1844, the last known pair was killed on Eldey, marking humanity's last interaction with the bird. 8 years later, ornithologist Henry Drummond made the last confirmed sighting of a great auk while on a ship along the banks of Newfoundland. He saw a lone bird that he was confident was a great auk, wandering the shores, possibly looking for a mate. Unaware, it may have been the last of its kind. The bird quickly became smaller as the ship moved faster until it disappeared from view forever. Finally, the passenger pigeon once darkened the skies of North America with their enormous flocks. It's estimated that there were between 3 and 5 billion passenger pigeons in the early 19th century. Sadly, massive hunting and habitat destruction led to their rapid decline. The last confirmed wild passenger pigeon was shot in 1901 in Ohio. The final captive bird, named Martha, died in 1914 at the Cincinnati Zoo. Despite this, there were sporadic reports of sightings in the wild until the 1930s, though none were confirmed. These stories of the last sightings of extinct animals remind us of the importance of appreciating and protecting the incredible biodiversity we still have today. If you found this video interesting and want to see another about giants of the ancient past, check out my video about the short-faced bear, its life, its time, and its prey. Thanks for watching Primalia, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating journeys into the ancient past. Stay tuned and stay curious.